Is it loading? Come on now. Oh. I hate how when it starts it doesn't like a little spurts. Are you seeing any video on your end?
I ain't seen Jack.
What the hell? It says streaming. Let's try this again. Wait a minute, there we go. There it is. Lord have mercy. Alright.
Oh, yay. Well, thanks to Dota.
That's right. It is what it is. So what's going on, guys? It is Nate, a.k.a. Kane. Joining with me, as always, Anthony. Just go ahead
With all
and say
this
it. Just go ahead and
crap in
say
my
it.
way. No, I'm excited. It's not same shit different days. Today's been this week's been hectic with trying to move, get things straightened out. Now we got DSP on here. We got the haters in the stream. We got the fanboys in the stream. We got our poor Gamer Talk Live people stuck in the middle. It's just gonna be crazy.
It's going to be fun, though. We definitely got moderators covering this. Got Hazard in the house as well. Make sure everything's fair and kosher and all that stuff. So, one thing I do want to apologize, as you can probably see further on down the line there, for whatever reason, on my desktop, the stream chat is not loading. So, as for you actually watching it on YouTube, it's kind of SOL. Also do want to thank Hazard for providing this new Gamer Talk Live layout. So thanks again, Hazard, for that. It's awesome work. Greatly appreciate it. Anything you want to add, man, before we get started?
No, I mean that's really about it. I guess if anything, we're just gonna see how this turns out. Just as a forewarning, I mean we've already seen a lot of hatred from all sides, not only to DSP but also to ourselves. Just as a kind of a background, although Nate's kind of known for his response videos, he's openly said many times over he does not hate Phil, and that's not what this thing is going to be about. We are going to address some questions that people feel is important to ask, but this isn't going to be a bash fest. This is really just, getting answers. And I mean, even with my channel, way back when, I'm not really a fan of Phil's content, but I have, watched it quite a bit in the past. I'm not a hater or a fan, but when I remember seeing one of his vlogs where he's like, oh yeah, I got into this because I really enjoy gaming and I want people to see it, that's basically the same reason why I got into this as well. And I've actually met a lot of people through contacts of both John Rambo and DSP. So I mean, without either of those two guys, I wouldn't know half the people I know on here, anyways.
Right, and it goes without saying. It's right below. You can see there are some very slim chat rules that I have. Basically, it's the only thing. The easiest way to explain it is just respect. Just have respect for your fellow chatters. Sounds stupid, but anyways, that's really, I don't know how to really sum it up. Just have respect, don't be a dick, and you don't have nothing to worry about. It's not censorship. A lot of people will spin it off that way. It's like, no, you can express how you feel without being a dick. You don't have to be disrespectful. You don't have to be an asshole or whatever.
Yeah,
I encourage people to say what they feel, and that's actually why I try to have the damn chat on here, but it's not working, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, because we may not always agree with what Phil does, but we don't hate the guy. It's as simple as that. I mean, that's always what Gamer Talk's been about. We have disagreements, we're able to talk it out like people.
Especially for this Gamer Talk Live, once we get into the gaming topic as well, reviews, I guarantee I'm in the minority on this, so...
You probably are.
Yeah. But, without further ado, the man of the hour, people said it wouldn't be done. Again, thanks to Anthony. You got to give credit where credit's due, so give thanks to Anthony for getting this done. Let's get him on. Phil.
Hello.
How you doing this evening, sir?
I am doing well, and by the way, you can probably fix that stream chat issue by clearing out the cookies in your browser, because that has been happening to me all week, and once I clean out the cookies and I refresh, it usually works again.
Yeah, he tried that already.
I literally just tried to do that, and it's still being a dirty whore.
Damn it.
I just keep tweaking at it as we're going along, so...
What browser are you using?
Mozilla, actually.
Okay.
Firefox Master Race.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm in Chrome right now, and it seems to be working, but that could just be a circumstance.
Right, I guess for anybody who's unfamiliar with your work, although I'm pretty sure everybody knows, who are you, what do you do, and so
All
on.
right. Yes, I am Phil Burnell, but I go by Darkside Phil, or DSP for short, on the internet. Former pro fighting game player, mostly known for my performance in Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo over the years. Pretty much kind of retired from that, moved into other things. Now I am basically a Let's Player, a game reviewer, a vlogger, pretty much anything related to games. I have my YouTube channel, DSP Gaming, where I post playthroughs, full playthroughs of games daily. I also have the King of Hate Vlogs, which is my vlogging channel on YouTube, where I post up things like game reviews, my schedule videos. I have a series called DSP Tries It, where I try out different kinds of food products and other stuff. And then in addition to all of this, the newest change this year was that earlier this year, I adopted direct capture and live streaming. And I have my live streaming channel here on Twitch. It's just Darkside Phil, where, again, daily when I'm recording, I am also live streaming my video game playthrough. So a lot of different stuff there to check out. And that's pretty much my story up to now.
All right. So, I mean, we have a few questions. I think we're going to go back and forth. We'll have Nate start off first.
Let's see. Well, didn't you have the one question?
Oh, I thought you were going to start off with the one question, and then I was going to go to that other one question.
Okay, now you've got me totally confused.
All right. I'll ask them both then. I'll get the honor to do that. All right, so we have one question. I forgot who it's from. You probably have it in your comment list anyways, because I don't, because it's yours. Can you swim?
Oh, yeah.
Can I swim? I have not. Wow, what a question. I have not swam since probably the high school years. I could swim back then, but I couldn't honestly answer that because I haven't done it in so long. So
That's actually from Hazard GD. I promised him that question would be asked. So
it was just too random not to ask. Now that the joke is out of the way, now to the serious
now
stuff.
for the easy questions.
Yeah. Now everybody get your your hankies and your tissues ready because this is going to be tugging on the feels. And just to prove that the questions we have aren't simply just haters, and I mean, this is some fan questions. This is going to be kind of long. It's going to be the only long one. And it's from somebody that you know quite well. So I'm going to go ahead and read it, and we'll say who it is at the end. Something I'd have to say, kick out the negativity a little bit. Without Phil Burnell, my life would be very different. I wouldn't know a lot of people I know, such as Kanade Tenshi, P-Dog, the Ariad Lord, Coruchado, John Rambo, OJ, Howard, Nate, Anthony, The Lemon, Fozy, DX Michael, Static Veins, Solid Fantasy, Vossel, Cutout Panda, Beachy, Mark Crown, Cyber Demon, Lambent, Layla. This list could go on forever. I'm a moderator for his stream and website, also the head news editor for his website. This allowed me to be creative, learning a thing or two, make my own YouTube channel, things that are on my CV and that I've actually been able to talk about at job interviews, including my current one at Renaissance Electronic Europe. I probably butchered that, sorry. I've designed t-shirts for John Rambo, as well as graphics for John and for Phil, and then had them seen by thousands of people. I literally cannot thank them enough for these opportunities, and it's something that I'll never be able to repay. In a funny way, when I find problem with Phil's internet persona, it's never with the content. The content is entertainment, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm immune from criticism of his personal character. Kojima World Order for life. In some ways, I feel sorry for Phil. Being in the spotlight is tough, and he has people from all around the world waiting for him to say something offensive or bigoted so they can criticize him for it. I can't say I would enjoy the lifestyle he leads. Even for me, when Phil attacks someone personally, I feel uncomfortable for supporting his content, and rightfully so. Sometimes it seems like Phil goes out of his way to rant on certain topics and a group of people. This doesn't help when oftentimes it's on a topic that he hasn't fully researched and he isn't in the know about. People are going to be upset and unhappy when someone they must be a fan of since they're watching your content, make insults and attacks based on assumptions of something they enjoy, many of which are personal. My question is, Why do you feel the need to ridicule your fans when they make statements or say things to you that contrast your own opinions or you just disagree with? It's a regular occurrence that instead of making a reasoned rebuttal, you just attack them personally. The whole Minecraft Twitter debacle is a prime example of this. You only made a more reasoned and, frankly, amended statement once it had been made a big deal out of by fans. I really feel like this hostility is a primary cause of viewers' drops. Would it not be a better idea to take the high road more often? Start enforcing a policy of, if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all. Like any other business, you have to deal with disagreeing, disappointed, and sometimes unreasonable customers. At your last job, if someone called up and said, I don't think your helicopters are very good, I don't like it, you didn't turn around and say, well, you're a fucking idiot. Kind regards, Hazard.
All right. So basically, I guess the gist of the question is why it seems like a lot of the times I respond to negativity harshly rather than either just taking the high road and not saying anything or possibly taking the time and responding maybe in a more complex manner. It's funny because right before we started the stream, I was talking to these guys about how, unfortunately, Twitter is not the place to try to have any kind of an intelligent conversation with anybody because there's far too few characters. You try to say something, but you end up saying it in a way that it's abridged and ends up cutting out a lot of the emphasis or the detail of what you're trying to say. So in particular, he mentioned Minecraft. I'm not hating on Minecraft the game, all right? The fact that Minecraft has become such a popular entity in the gaming world, the fact that you can go to Walmart and they've got Minecraft shirts and Minecraft accessories for kids and stuff, it's a testament that the game obviously has an attraction to a wide fan base. I completely understand that. That was not the point that I was making in the tweet. Unfortunately, because it was a tweet, you don't have enough space to really elaborate. So, and in this regard, I'm going to say to Hazard, absolutely, you are 100% correct. A lot of the time what ends up happening is I'll want to say something, but instead of, okay, well, I'm going to make a video to fully elaborate my opinion, I end up jumping on Twitter and I say something, and then half the people who read it think that I'm trying to say something that I'm really not. In that particular case of Minecraft, the whole point I'm trying to make is that I think the game is not a game for the kind of people like I am. I'm a kind of person, I like a game that has a complex story, great graphics, some gameplay in there too. I like a game that's multifaceted. Minecraft is the kind of game that it's a time waster. There's no real complex story or anything going on in it. When you beat Minecraft, the initial campaign or whatever there is in the game, you're not, wow, I feel accomplished because I beat that game and what an awesome story and I love those characters and I'm going to want to go back to that over and over. No, that's not the kind of game it is. It's a game where you literally sit at your computer and you dig and you build stuff and you play with mods and you mess around. It's a dick around game. So I can understand why people like that, but at the same time, when people come on my videos of a masterpiece, a game from my childhood that I think is like an amazing game, and they go, Earthbound is boring, this game sucks and is boring, I'm going to go play Minecraft, I want to shoot myself in the fucking head. Because that's like the common mentality of what's happening with gamers these days. We just want to play this mindless game that, it's just sit down, click, 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 click. Same thing with Call of Duty. Look how dumbed down Call of Duty has become, and all of a sudden it's the biggest selling game in the world right now. It's just anyone can jump in, anyone can shoot a few people, and then turn it off. And yes, that kind of game has a place, but don't come onto my content and insult a masterpiece from my past just because you are the kind of gamer that doesn't have that kind of perspective. All right, I've been around the block. I've been around for quite some time, so that's why I feel that I can see those things. And I don't look at older games. Sure, I don't like how every game on the Commodore 64 looks. I think it looks like shit. But I'm not going to sit here and shit on those games because I know there was a fan base for that back then. So that was the point of my tweet. But it basically came out me saying Minecraft sucks ass. Fuck anyone who wants to play it, and that's how people read that tweet. All right.
Right. So that's one of the things that people was taking that comment. Like basically how, because you said somebody came on your stream was basically just knocked. What game was he playing again? It was
Earthbound.
Earthbound, yes. So basically, like when they said that, like this game is boring, it sucks, I'm gonna go play Minecraft. He was like, what the fuck? And that's exactly how people felt when the comments was made about Minecraft. Like, even though I think what people are generally looking for is not you to speak about how you feel about the game, but understand that I guess it's what you said there. It kind of goes really into the limitations of Twitter, specifically Twitter, because of the character limits and shit. But just to be more mindful about how, I guess, like other gamers take it too, because that's one thing I'll admit. Gamers these days are basically really short attention spans. That's why, again, like games like Call of Duty, these games that you just pick up really quick, play it for a minute, and just move on, do something else. That's why they're so successful, because short attention spans. That's the popular thing nowadays.
All right, real quick before we get to Nate's question, just in regards to this, it was also about addressing negativity. He was basically just saying, if you see people talking shit, basically ignore them, I guess is what he was also trying to suggest as well. But in regards to Minecraft, I guess like right now, I would disagree with you, but I'm not going to insult you or people who feel the same way about Minecraft, because although there's not much story to Minecraft, it does breed a lot of creativity and what people can come up with. I think it's a little bit more than a time waster, and I too am from an era like the Super Nintendo was like the biggest thing for me. I've been playing actually since the Atari days, so I can kind of see what you're talking about. But I guess I feel like it probably could have been worded differently, and you yourself said it probably could have, but you only have like 140 characters to try and talk about the subject.
Right, and I do want to say I apologize to anyone who was insulted thinking that I was saying that Minecraft is a horrendous game and you're an idiot if you play it. That's not the point I was making. Really what irked me was, like, you take a look at videos on YouTube and, anyone who puts out a Minecraft video gets thousands of views just because they're playing Minecraft. And it's like, really? Like, the game has become that big. It's like, if you're not playing Call of Duty and you're not playing Minecraft, you're not in the in crowd on YouTube anymore. And that's way different than when I started on YouTube. It's absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion, that these two games are kind of dominating the entire gaming scene. So for someone to make a comment like that on my content kind of set me off. Yes, I did say I approached it the wrong way. I should have just let it go. And as for the negativity comment that Hazard made, I will publicly admit absolutely 100% this year in particular, yes, I have been letting the negativity get to me, which I should not have done. If you remember when I started out on YouTube doing this full time, I said we're going to remain positive, we're going to keep pushing ahead, we're going to ignore all the bullshit, and we're going to keep going. And unfortunately, this year it did kind of get to me for multiple reasons. Worries about myself, my future, being able to do this on the internet as something full time. This year it really affected me because I really wanted to move this year. And then basically getting a pay cut at the beginning of this year was a huge, devastating blow to me. I'm stuck in Connecticut basically because of it. And, I've been a little bit, I'll be honest, I've been a little bit more sensitive this year about this kind of stuff. So I do have to make an honest effort to try to address these things properly, to understand what I'm saying is being viewed in the public eye and that people may take it the wrong way, or I might not be able to say it the right way because I'm saying it on Twitter like an idiot. And I will try to make an honest effort to be more positive.
So does that mean you and I are going to do some co-op of Minecraft and go ahead and do a video of that?
Actually, yes, that's the big announcement on the stream tonight. Minecraft. The big project. No.
All right. No. Nate, go ahead with the next one.
All right. Next question is, hey, Phil, my question is this. Stating that you are no longer banning people, why was I banned from the King of Hate vlogs for giving you a fair and reasonable criticism about your dual Hateful Truth feature, God of War, and Gears of War Judgment? You stated that you were no longer going to be policing the comments and would consider banning someone under the circumstances of racism and sexism. That question was really generalized, so I actually asked them, what was it that you said?
Right.
They didn't have it verbatim, but what he said was, it was along the lines of this. I think it's pretty lame of you to group together these two games together for the Hateful Truth. To me, it sort of seems like it was rushed, as you did not take the time to make a separate review, to cash in to get the video out while the games are relevant. I think two separate reviews would have been more appropriate.
All right, that's it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, what I want to say is, I get this all the time. Phil, why did you block me from your channel when all I said was an honest and fair criticism? And I'm like, now, why would you even bother saying that? Because you can't prove it. You know what I mean? Like, if the comment was deleted and the guy was blocked, you have no idea what they really said. And what I'm finding more often than not is that people are complaining that they're getting blocked or banned And then I come to find out this was the guy who was spamming my video with nasty shit 2 weeks ago, you know, and I blocked him. And then all of a sudden he realized he was blocked. So now he's acting, oh, I'm innocent. I was the nice guy. So I'm not saying that's the case in particular here. But when you do hear people saying that, I do want to say you got to take it with a grain of salt, because a lot of people, they try to twist it to make them look like, oh, I was the innocent guy. You know what I mean? The bottom line is, since the beginning of 2013, this is correct. I have not been policing the comments of my videos. If you remember, early this year, I basically granted amnesty to everybody across the board over the entirety of my YouTube career. I unblocked everyone. And it took a while because there was, like, you know, hundreds of people who've, you know, done stupid shit on my videos over the past several years. And I granted just general amnesty to everybody. I have not been actively reading the comments. The only videos that I really do actively read the comments on these days are my vlog style videos, especially the ones where I'm trying to get feedback or I'm trying to get an idea from someone, like Hate Live. A lot of the times I say that, you know, leave a comment or whatever, and because I'm talking about this or that. Now, in this particular case, more than likely what happened was that I put out the review, and it was one of two things that happened. Either, number one, someone actually messaged me and said, Phil, there's someone trolling or getting into a nasty argument or something on one of your videos. Go check it out because it's upsetting the people in the comments. I've actually been getting dozens and dozens of these every month. People saying, there's someone so nasty, and we know you don't police your comments anymore, but we'd like you to go take a look, please, because we're having a nice discussion about your video, and this guy's just being an idiot. So that could have been one case. Maybe someone said there was something on that video that I needed to take a look at and maybe moderate. The only other reason, again, is if I'm reading a vlog that I just put out and maybe I'm interested to see what's the feedback. So in that case, maybe I was looking for, you know, feedback on what people thought about my reviews of the games. Now, in this guy's particular case, I mean, it's months later. I cannot tell you whatsoever what it was that caused me, if that was his real comment or not, to delete his comment and block him. You know what I mean? I can't, it's months later. I wish I had it in front of me and I could honestly tell you why it would irk me. His comment alone, I could tell you just hearing that summary of it does sound negative. Basically sounds to me like he's calling me out and he's trying to tell me that I'm just in it for the money, and so I just made this review just to cash in quick. I didn't really care about the games or the review, and I could have, you know what I mean? And that's an attack. Now, I'm not saying that's what he said, but it seems to me that if he wrote something like that saying, oh, you're a sellout, you're in it for the money, that's going to get you blocked, versus other people who would say, okay, this might have been a better video if you had made two. And if they say it in the fashion that's intelligent and respectful, and I think you hit on it at the very beginning of the stream when you were actually talking about the people in the stream chat. I can accept criticism if you say it to me like a human being, and you don't say it to me like I'm some idiot 5-year-old kid and you're my parent scolding me, all right? Because the bottom line is, this is my content. It's free. I'm providing it for you. If you don't like it, that's okay. You don't have to watch it. And I know I've said that thousands of times, and I'm saying it again. If you don't like something in a video, you have every right to post a comment about it, but do it in a respectful and intelligent manner. Not with fuck Phil, fuck this, sellout, asshole, you know, any of that stuff. It immediately shuts me down when I see something like that. And I'm not going to accept this criticism because obviously this guy isn't even intelligent enough to say it in an intelligent manner. So I can't give a definitive answer on this particular question because I'm not in my shoes. What was it, 3-4 months ago when I wrote the review? Yeah. I don't know exactly what the comment was, but a lot of the times people actually message me about this stuff and they say, Phil, I was banned. I'm not sure what happened. And I unbanned them. I've unbanned probably, a whole bunch of people this year in particular. A lot of the times they say, Phil, you banned me. What happened? And I say, I don't remember even reading the comments for the past 2 days. How could I have banned you on a video that I put out yesterday? And then I go to their channel, but sure enough, this is their block. And so I end up unblocking them. So that might be a factor too, where something's happening, where somehow people are getting blocked and it's not even me. And I don't know how that happens, but I've noticed that a few times this year too. So I wish I had a better answer for you, but I can't give you one because I'm not in my shoes at the moment when that happened. So I'm not exactly sure what the comment was.
Right. Like I said, with that, I reached out to him to see if he actually had like the full hard-on question for that. He did paraphrase it, obviously, but I think with that, what people are getting concerned about, and this is actually a second part of this, is this from...
Okay.
Let's see. Let's scroll too far.
Crickets.
I know. I went too far.
Do you want me to just get the next question in the meantime? So for time's sake?
Yeah, go ahead. Go for that one.
Okay.
We're done.
All right. Here's one. This one is also kind of a lot of people said this together, so I'm sorry I'm not giving anybody in particular credit for this one. Um, so it's do you feel it is truly appropriate to make hateful, sexist, racist, homophobic, and otherwise malicious comments in your videos and on your streams, or is this simply just a persona meant to be humorous? Example being Cortez in Mass Effect 3, well, more recently Melee in Metal Gear Solid 1, and so on.
All right, well, anyone who's watched my content for, more than just one particular video where I may be doing that knows that, yes, this is an ongoing kind of running joke. I've always thought that as long as you're doing comedy and you make it blatant that it is comedy and that it's not like an honest racial feeling or sexist feeling, that if it's done that way and you get a laugh out of it, then you can do it. You know what I mean? Now, in this case, we're talking about game characters. So in the case of game characters, if you're going to make jokes about them, they're not real. You can't hurt Cortez's feelings because Cortez doesn't exist, okay? Now, in general, if we're just talking about, homosexuality, sure. Someone who's homosexual and they see me make a joke about homosexuality, maybe they will be offended if they don't realize that this is just a joke. So it really depends on your frame of reference. If you've been a fan of mine, you know the kind of person that I am. I am a joking person. That's part of the entertainment of watching my videos. I do not have any kind of ongoing racist or bigoted or sexist feelings whatsoever. I am a very liberal person in that regard. I've had friends of all colors, all races, all sexual orientations my entire life. I don't hate on any one group in particular. For me, I almost like to say it's equal opportunity hating because when you watch my videos, you see I'll make fun of everyone. I make fun of myself. So as long as you have a good sense of humor and you know who I am, in the right frame of reference, you would understand that's what I'm doing. I'm just joking. But I can understand if there's an outsider, someone who's never seen a video of mine before, and the very first video they watch is the intro to one of the Dynasty Warriors games I played where I'm making all these Asian jokes, and they're probably like, oh my God, this guy's an asshole because he's such a bigot. But that's not the case. So I just want to throw that out there. No, it's nothing legitimate. It's nothing like that at all. I'm just kidding.
Right, so it's a character. It's not really your personal feelings on the matter.
No, absolutely not.
All right. Okay. And because I am going to move on from that one just because I think you really nailed it with the answer on that. Anyways, it's a frame of reference. I actually watched a video of yours that you was talking about, like the Duke Nukem Forever review. That I forget the girl's name. That reviewed it. Right. She had no frame of reference of the actual game because she was only 20 years old when she did the review. So she was 5 years old when she played the game. So
yeah, how could she possibly understand that era and what they were going for when they were designing that game? You couldn't. She was the wrong person to review that game.
Right. So that kind of gives a good example of I guess what you're talking about there. Like if you just jump in and you hear the gay jokes and stuff and you don't know, never seen Dark Side Field before, that's where it could come off-putting. The question I was looking for, it kind of directly relates to that previous one, was Voodoo51292 made a question video basically saying, I don't know where this question mark came from, but how you inspired him to make his own channel. Recently, he unsubscribed to you because of the controversy on Twitter and streams that you respond to fans negatively. My question is, did you watch the video of not only Voodoo51292, but other people who have been with you along the ride since you started making videos on YouTube? If so, how do you feel about this? And this is from Charlie X.
Well, unfortunately, no. I don't know what he's talking about. I did not see any video. Unfortunately, here's the problem, is that when you have a big audience, you get so many people throwing things at you at once that you don't know what is something legitimate and what's something someone's just trying to be a dick about. So, unfortunately, daily I get people, oh, Phil, can you check out this video? And they'll tweet it to me, or they'll send me a PM, Phil, this is important, can you watch this? And unfortunately, it's just too much for me to keep up with. So this guy, I don't know if he ever did send me the video or whatever, but I did not see his video, so I'm not sure what exactly he's talking about. But I think we already pretty much sufficiently addressed the whole Twitter situation, that right. I shouldn't be arguing with people on Twitter. It's kind of dumb, especially because I can't intelligently express myself. And again, I do apologize if it is the Minecraft situation or whatever situation he's talking about. If there was something that I personally, pissed him off or upset him about.
He was actually.
I'm not sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I said I wouldn't interrupt. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, because I really don't have anything else to say because I don't know what he specifically he's talking about.
His video, he was very calm, kind of like the way I'm speaking to you right now. And he basically, it's kind of like the same feelings that Hazard had. It's just over time, a lot of the way that fans are handled negatively, just the negativity in general is kind of just off-putting for him. That's really what it was about. He even showed off one of your T-shirts just to show that like he was a huge supporter and brought up a whole bunch of facts, kind of, I guess, to legitimize his claim.
Well, you see, and here's something else that I do want to say about the subject is, unfortunately, there are some people who obviously are starting the trolling movement against me, and it really has become a smear campaign at this point, where someone will say something really stupid, all right, something insulting, they'll blatant insult, and so I'll go back at them because I'm an idiot. Instead of ignoring it like I should, I'll go back at them, and immediately that's it. Look at this. Look what Phil just said to me on Twitter. Holy shit, spread the word. Phil's an asshole. I'm a fan, and look what he said to me. It's like, yeah, but look what you said first. You insulted me. You probably personally pissed me off because you insulted my work. You called me lazy. You said I was a sellout. You did something, obviously, to irk me enough to actually respond to you in a pissy manner. So obviously something happened there. You know what I mean?
Oh, no. He when I'm talking about the negativity, he didn't say anything to you specifically. It's just things that he observed that made him like that. Like I said, this guy was very level-headed. Right. He seems like he cares a lot about you and your content, and he kind of just feels down because he feels like a lot of the negativity is unnecessary. Kind of like what Hazard said. He's like, hey, just don't listen to them. Just keep doing your thing.
Yeah, and I completely agree on that point. Like I already said about Hazard's point. It was funny because when I first started on YouTube, if you notice, I wasn't on Twitter. I wasn't on Facebook. I didn't have a website. And it was just me making content. Yeah. And I loved, even though I loved the interactivity that I had with the fans talking on the comments of the videos, but that's pretty much the only interactivity that I had. It seems that over the years now, as this has become my profession, now it's necessary to be on Twitter, to be on Facebook, because you need to have this information, a way to disseminate the information. Now that I have multiple channels, I'm on Twitch, it's almost impossible to keep up with what's going on unless you have one central place to do it. And that's what I've kind of made Twitch and Facebook. The problem now is, unfortunately, I need to stop letting these idiots who do say stupid stuff to me on there get to me and then turn it into something negative. So I do agree there.
All right. This is my last question. You constantly blame the game when you die or make a mistake. Is that just a rage thing for you and later on acknowledge that you are the one that's at fault, or do you always think it is just the game? From Killed by Death 2112.
All right. Great question, because this one's going to give you some history on me that no one knows, because I haven't ever talked about this in my podcasts or anything yet. Well, I used to do the exact same thing in the competitive Street Fighter community. I would always, because back then we're not talking in the recent, say, 5 years. We're talking back in the days of the arcades. When you went to an arcade, you had to play on a cabinet, so you were forced to use whatever control setup was there, whether it worked or not. Okay, so I would go to the arcade and I would play, and whenever I lost, I would say, "This fucking joystick's broken. This button doesn't work. This button stuff." I would make excuses, but it was funny. People loved it. They were like, "Wow, Phil does this every time he loses." They would love to see me rant after I lose a match. I'd be like, "This is bullshit." I walk away from the machine, and then it kind of translated itself later on into my YouTube stuff when I started playing on YouTube. But it depends on the situation. So here's a perfect example. And some people who don't play fighting games won't believe me, all right? But if you've played fighting games and you've played them online, you're going to understand. Today I tried to play Injustice earlier on a stream. There's a DLC character. Yes, Zatanna came out for Injustice. I said, I want to play this, and she looks good. I play it offline. No lag whatsoever because I'm playing it offline. I'm loving it. I'm doing crazy combos with her. I'm able to do everything I want. Great. All right, let's take it online. The instant I fucking take it online, massive amounts of lag. Everything I do is delayed by half a second, but you can't see it. That's the problem with lag in matches. You can't see it a lot of the time. It's just a delay. I was pushing down on my joystick, and it would be half a second before my character would even duck. So for me to be able to play that, especially someone who came out of the competitive fighting game world and playing in person with actual reactions to things going on in the game, that's like the worst possible scenario for me. So I was raging on the stream, and of course you get the idiot. It's, oh, Phil's a liar. There's no lag. He just sucks at everything. I'm like, whatever, man. You're always going to get those people. If that's the situation and there's legitimate nonsense going on, that's when I rage. And yes, that was legit rage today because the lag basically ruined my experience with this DLC character that I wanted to play with. And by the way, who I actually think is a really good character. In other playthroughs, so if I'm just playing any Joe Schmo game, I'm playing Uncharted, I'm playing Halo, and I just die, there's a lot of times where I will rage, and it's a joke. It's me. It's an ongoing thing of a character that I've done since my teenage years in the arcades, and people loved it back then, and they love it now. Now, admittedly, there are a group of people out there who don't like it. They think that Phil is attacking the game. Phil is insulting this great game. How dare he say it's the game's fault? You have to understand that this is entertainment. This is not a professional level playthrough of the game. And this is what I tell everyone, everything. It's a playthrough, not a walkthrough. My content is made to entertain, not necessarily to inform you on the best way to play the game. All right? So understand that a lot of the time that is for entertainment purposes only. But if you're seeing it in a fighting game and I'm playing online, 9 times out of 10, that's legit because fighting games suck online.
Why do you hate Kojima?
I do not hate. Here, let me put it this way. I don't hate Kojima. I hate Kojima fanboys. Let's put it that way. Because it's fine to respect the work of someone, especially someone like him. He's put out a very long, respectable line of games. Obviously, it's a tough thing to make all these games tie into each other with not only the story and the characters, but the technology and the themes that he's had in the back of his games are really. He's a really good writer and a really good storyteller. Okay, I don't necessarily like the gameplay of a lot of his games, but that's my personal opinion, and you can agree or disagree with it, and that's fine. But for the people that, for me, how dare Phil play a game made by Hideo Kojima, not play it at a master level, and then when he fails, how dare he even invoke the name of our God? You know, and that's kind of what the reaction is a lot of the time with his stuff. It's this incessant, insane fanboy worship of this guy. And I like to joke about it. When I just played Metal Gear Solid 1, I said, oh, the Kojima World Order's coming. You know, where he's taking over the world because, you know, his games are so good. Metal Gear Solid 5's coming out in the fall. That's it. The world's going to end. He's going to be the world dictator. You know, and that's what I mean. If you watch my content, you know the stuff that I'm saying in the frame of reference is a joke. A lot of these people, oh, it's a Kojima fanboy. Oh, I heard some guys bashing Kojima. And then they go watch the video and they hear me make a joke about Kojima and that's it. Oh, my God. Now it's time to make 2.5-hour hateful montages about Phil. You know what I mean? Like that. It's out of hand. I just don't understand that kind of mentality. I personally respect a lot of people in the gaming industry, even if I don't necessarily like their games. Like, let's face it, I don't like Minecraft that much, but Notch, the developer, obviously did something right. He's an ingenious man, and now he's a millionaire because of it. So I'm not going to hate on him, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I don't have to love him and kiss his ass, and these people are not above criticism, and people should stop trying to protect these people from criticism, because criticism helps when it's done in the right manner.
Okay, I think we have time for like 1 or 2 more questions, or how many do you have?
I think I got like 1 or 2.
All right, that's cool, because I apologize. We're almost at that 70-30 everybody thought I was going to be. It was not done on purpose.
All right. This is a kind of brief question. I might actually add a little bit onto this, but the question is, before you actually adopted live streaming, you was very adamant about not wanting to switch over. You was more comfortable using the camera. A lot of your fans actually prefer that, and to this day actually still prefer the old camera footage. Just paraphrasing this, why did you make fun of streaming and the direct capture and then directly turn around and adopt it? And this is from Captain 31.
Okay. First of all, that's not what happened whatsoever. It wasn't like a night and day change where one day I said, I hate streaming, it's really bad. And then I turned around the next day I said, I love streaming, it's really good. You know, that never happened. What it was a progression. A progression of YouTube, a progression of business on YouTube, and the way that people do stuff with video games on YouTube. All right? So let's be honest here. Outside of myself, how many other people were using a digital camera to film their television screen and were actually being pretty successful on YouTube? Can you name one?
I honestly can't think of any, but I guess more to the point, because I can't pull up the video, and I don't want to be that guy that pulls up the video or whatever, but you answered this question on King of Hate. You said it's something you were considering, but it would probably be months down the line, and then I guess it was a spur of the moment thing, but you and John Rambo went out and bought 2 capture cards from Best Buy, and then like 2 or 3 days later you're already direct capturing and streaming. So I think it was jarring because you're like, I'll do it down the line, and then it just randomly happened.
Okay. Yeah, all right. So I understand that. The best I found in my life, the best way to make a big transition is just to get it fucking done, not to drag it out, not to have years and years or months of build up. And I knew at some point I was going to have to do direct capture because everyone on YouTube is now using direct capture. There's very, very few people using a camera and doing stuff on YouTube anymore. And the bottom line is direct capture's visual quality is better than using a camera. I actually always agreed on that. I always said my camera is almost as good as direct capture. So that's why I said it was acceptable. But over the years of doing this, you know, starting in 2008 is a hobby. Who cares what my quality is? 2010, I had to take it more seriously because it was my job. So here it is, 2013. I have to do something when all of my competition around me is using a better technology than I am. I have to change or else I'm going to become extinct. That's the bottom line. Sure, I'll still have a smaller, maybe more dedicated fan base because they've just been along with me for the ride. But if you want to see these new consoles coming out in the fall and you want to see their graphics, do you want to see them from a camera or do you want to see direct capture so you can actually tell the difference in the graphics? That's the real question here. And, of course, the answer is direct capture. So I knew it was impending changes coming. Now, I will tell you right now, I think that the audio quality of the game sounds better with direct capture, but the audio quality of my voice does not sound as good right now as it used to. And I've openly, publicly said this too, because whatever it is with these microphones, the things that you use for direct capture, it doesn't sound like you're in the room with the person. It sounds like the guy is literally an inch from your ear talking directly into your ear. If they talk too loud, the microphone pops, blows your headphones out. I don't like that style of audio. I just don't. And in addition to that, I don't like having to wear headphones. Right now, for this podcast, I'm wearing headphones. And for every day when I work, I have to wear headphones now. If I showed you the picture of the wires running across my living room floor, when my parents come to visit me, they say, this is like a fire hazard. Like, you know, this is gonna burn down in your sleep. And I said, well, luckily it's only a 2-room condo, so I'll smell the smoke and I'll get out before it burns down. But it's just a hideous mess. And I knew it was gonna be a hideous mess. My original plan was that I was going to hopefully move this year. I don't know where I was gonna move, but move to a bigger place, have a room that I could call my office, and have a place where I could set up direct capture equipment in an efficient and neat manner to avoid what the nightmare that I have in my living room right now, okay? But the bottom line was, after everything that happened earlier this year, I took a pay cut. I saw my views were starting to decline a little bit, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to be able to move this year because of that. So it's either die this year because I'm only using a camera, or make this giant leap to this new technology. And I knew it was going to be hard, and I knew there were going to be road bumps, which there have been. Here I am, 6 months later? I still wouldn't say that my quality is 100%. I'm still using new mics. I'm using a new mic for the first only a week now. I got a camcorder to try to do vlogging live. So I'm still tweaking it. It's still going to take some time to perfect it, but it was a necessary change that needed to happen. And instead of having this big build-up and saying, this summer I'm going to do it, so here's a 6-month wait period, get your views now on my camera until it goes away. I said, the best way to make a major change like this is just to fucking do it. Get off my ass, get to the store, buy the shit, hook it up, try to get it to work. And the bottom line was, I think that actually worked out because now I'm able to live stream and direct capture. I'm doing things with live streaming that I was never capable of doing before, like doing the Hate Live live podcast, having an interactive Ask the King when I answer fan questions. So in that regards, it's actually aided me to create better content overall, and it was something that had to happen. Now, I think in particular in this question, the guy said, why did you hate on people who used to do direct capture? So I'm going to address that so people don't say I pussied out, okay? What I said was I don't agree with people who their entire gaming existence is squinting at a small computer screen in front of them with tiny headphones on, squinting and leaning over trying to play a game at their PC. I'm not saying that that's not the situation for some people. I know it is. I personally know a lot of people can't afford a big TV. They can't afford a surround sound system. And if that is your situation, then fine. I'm not hating on that person. What I'm saying is I don't feel that's the environment that gaming was meant to be experienced in. If that were the case, why are games have 5.1 surround sound that sounds amazing with the surround sound system and just okay in surround sound headphones? Why do they have these insanely high-res graphics and details? Because they want you to play it on a giant, vibrant TV and have it blow your mind, not on a small 18-inch monitor that has a low frame rate and it's, you have to basically hunch over it to fucking play it. The particular people who I was addressing were people who became hugely popular all of a sudden on YouTube because they had this little face cam and they were hunched over their computer with their headphones, screaming into it like they were scared little ninnies, and it became this fad on YouTube to do this. So I was saying, no, I'm not going to adopt that just because a couple people did it and became insanely popular, and I don't actually like that setup, and I will say to this day, I do not like headphones. I like just listening to my surround sound better. But for the purposes of the overall quality of my videos, especially the visual quality, and that people wanted better visual quality, and with the new consoles coming out, I was going to have to do it. I decided to just make the jump and make the change pretty much overnight, and that's what happened.
Okay, just real quick then, I guess like more of like a yes or no since you've addressed this enough. Then do you feel that people who do it that way are wrong? Just, I guess, do you feel that they're doing it the wrong way and they shouldn't be bothered?
It's like I said, let me put it this way. If these people had unlimited money, don't you think they would run out and buy a big TV and a surround sound system too? You know what I mean? If you could have that in your living room, wouldn't you do it? More than likely, it's a matter of means. They don't have the means to do that. And I'm not hating on people who don't have enough money to go buy a surround sound system and buy a big screen TV and enjoy games the way that I have had the absolute luck and honor and privilege of the past several years when I was filming with my camera. But don't say that I'm doing it wrong. That's what was pissing me off. You're telling me I'm doing it wrong because I'm filming with a camera and I'm actually using all the things that this game was designed to be played on. That's absolutely ridiculous. No, what they're doing, if you're seeing people who are playing games hunched over their computer just for the fact because they want to direct capture and put videos on YouTube, they're doing it wrong. They're taking an experience out of the game that was meant to be experienced because they've decided, they made the active decision that they want to just make videos for YouTube. At that point, it becomes not gaming for gaming's sake, it becomes gaming for popularity's sake, and that's not something that I like. I like to play games because I enjoy games, not because I want to do it to make money. I never intended it to ever be something that was going to make me money. I just kind of happened into it by complete chance.
I think what captains and like a lot of people, and even I've had this question along with your views on like direct capture, specifically like people being hunched over a keyboard, is that, I mean, I can agree with like maybe other popular YouTubers out there like PewDiePie. Or they have a gimmick of acting stupid in front of the camera, and that's how they're getting their views and stuff. I particularly wouldn't want to try to do that. That's not how I would ever try to entertain, and I could agree with you that you wouldn't want to do that either. I think what the main issue is that everybody plays games their own way, and I think what is off-putting, and what, at least as far as me, is like, I believe anybody has the privilege to play the game any way they want. If they want to wear headphones, if they want to sit back and relax in front of a big TV and have the surround sound on them, I mean, that's the way they was meant to game. So again, I'm not exactly sure if this is what Captain was trying to say in his question, but I think this one of the things that's off-putting about that is telling people how they should play or how it is. You definitely have preferences. Everybody has their preferences. But I don't think it takes any away of the validity of their gaming experience because they prefer something different than you.
Well, the only thing I have to say to that is it brings an example into my mind of something that I heard recently, that someone went to one of Gordon Ramsay's famous restaurants, a steakhouse. And apparently this guy was like a reviewer. And he goes to the steakhouse, he orders the best cut of meat in the house, but he orders it well done, all right? Worst thing you can do to a steak. Eats the steak, goes home, and immediately writes a scathing review of the restaurant, saying the piece of meat was awful, it tasted bad. Gordon Ramsay responded, and he said, you ordered the best cut of meat, which tastes best medium to almost, medium. or raw. Some people like it raw. He says, and then you complain. Like, what is your problem? Do you not know anything about food? So I kind of see it the same way from a gaming perspective. Here's a company. They took the time to do amazing voice acting, dialogue, background sounds, 5.1 surround sound, huge HD visuals, 720p, super detailed graphics. You choose to play the game on a tiny monitor, and again, I'm not saying that everyone chooses. I'm saying people that do this, they choose to play it on a tiny monitor with headphones on, scrunched over, and then they say the game's not good. Like, now wait a minute. You didn't. How did you even say you played the game? You basically completely neutered the experience with your choices, and now you're going to shit on the game. So that's kind of the perspective that I have. I'm not saying that that's fair to everyone who is forced to experience these games in a way that maybe is not ideal, okay? But that's kind of my perspective on it.
So then, in short, what you're basically saying is that they have an opinion, you have an opinion, and it neither is fact. It's just opinions.
That's correct. I have a personal preference of a way that I think that games are more immersive to be experienced. I'm sure other people may have other ways. But the same thing is, I have the right to express my opinion, but because I have a following of thousands of people on the internet, when I say something that people don't agree with, it blows up into huge controversy, versus the guy at home who has his personal preference. He says it and no one goes nuts about it. So
okay, is that it for the questions?
Let me see. I believe that is it.
Wow.
Last one. No,
these are a lot easier than I thought they were going to be. I thought you were going to ask me one or two other ones, honestly. So
well, I got one more, and this is from Lambit, and his question was, have you ever regretted, I guess it kind of ties in with the other thing, I guess would be a good question to sum up the whole conversation. Have you ever regretted anything that you've said in frustration, whether it be on Twitter or in the YouTube comment sections? Again, that's from Lambit.
Oh yeah, and absolutely. I already expressed just in this podcast that sometimes, unfortunately, I go off the chain. I react in a knee-jerk reaction in the moment with emotion. Like I said, especially this year, it's been more of an emotional year for me because there were some changes that I had to go through. I wasn't able to do the things that I really would have liked to do this year with my life. And, to see people who do things and make these negative accusations about me and say that I'm a sellout, say that I'm a horrible person, I attack my fans constantly. It's like, if that's the case, how would I have ever gotten fans if all I did was attack them? You know what I mean? Like, it just seems to me that it's these few people who maybe they do rub me the wrong way, and some of them maybe they didn't deserve it, and I'll openly admit that. Maybe I was, pissed off that day for some reason. I'm only human. I'm not a perfect person. I've never said that. And I react in the wrong way. And then it ends up blowing up. People say, oh, Phil hates Minecraft. Phil hates his fans. Phil's too negative about stuff. And I do apologize for that. And like I said, what I need to do is I need to kind of just sit back and relax a little bit. Right now we're leading out of the summer. We're heading into a season where there's going to be a bunch of great games coming out. I'm going to be immersed in it, and I just need to put my head down and work through it and enjoy the games and have fun and be positive and focus on the positive instead of just listening to every little nobody who's going to leave a negative comment on a video or on Twitter. That's the attitude that's got me where I am now, and that's the attitude that's going to allow me to continue to do what I'm doing in the future. And, some people call me out for it, okay? Message heard, thank you. And I will try to fix that.
All right. So just real quick, in recent gaming news, since we can't go over all of it, the winner of the International 2013 Dota 2 Championship, for anybody who's been following that, is actually a group of 5 players from Sweden, Mark Crown, No Nets Alliance, taking away $1.4 million in prize money. We have the winners of the Pokemon 2013 World Championship. I guess I'll just go to the Masters Division because that's really where it's the most difficult. The TCG Masters Division World Champion is Jason Klajinski from the United States, and the Video Game Master Division World Champion was Arash Ramadi from Italy, who actually managed to beat a Japanese player to the shock and awe of many different people. And, of course, there's the news that Microsoft has decided that the Kinect does not have to be plugged in anymore, but it will still be forced as a bundle to the console.
They did a little bit of good there. All right, so let's go ahead and, because we are starting to run a bit out of time here, get into the gaming topic that we have chose for this week. Again, it's great having Phil on here because he actually does his own reviews as well. And, of course, it is about reviews. again, this is something I feel that I'm going to be in the minority on, just because I think just based on conversations that I've had with other people, and also just seeing what other people have had to say about it, because there's so much riding on the line with the video games, and we were constantly told video games are not cheap to make. That's why there's so much DLC. That's why EA was so predominant about online passes, and then they started getting in bed with Microsoft, and then that went down, so they might bring them out. Well, they said they would never bring back online passes, but at any rate, we get the gist of it, and I think that this is why, particularly with reviews, because there are people out there that will actually base their purchase, whether or not they will purchase a game, on a particular website's review. I've seen the comments time and time again. If a game gets a shitty review on IGN down in the comment section, oh, you saved me $50, I'm not going to go out and buy this game now. Or $60, whatever platform you're buying it for. But I think that, for me personally, I think reviews should be solely based on fact. It should be factual information given, because Adam Sessler actually did a bit on this off of his Rev3 Games channel, where he's talking about publishers actually encourage the point scale, whether it be whatever, like 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 10 or whatever, so they can have it go to Metacritic and get that generalized score, and they use that to judge whether or not the community is seeing the game is successful or not. Which, again, it's boiling down to one person's opinion. There's so many games that's been kind of a cult hit with gamers that if you go by the reviews, you're never going to play it, such as Duke Nukem Forever. I'm not going to say it was the greatest game of that year. I think it came out last year, 2012? Silence.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was following the chat.
It was 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Okay. So, that'd be 2011. So, I'm not saying it was, Game of the Year 2011, but it was Duke Nukem. And for anybody to really deny that, that's just stupid. But again, it always goes down to, well, it's my opinion, so you can't knock me for that. And I think that's a cop-out, and unfortunately, we're seeing games get to the point where you're not going to see a sequel to a game because it got bad reviews, so people ain't buying the game. And to me, that's just going to affect the cost of games, because games eventually will end up costing more. You're going to see more microtransactions thrown into games where you're buying outfits, you're buying pieces for guns to do shit like that. So that's why I feel that way. Whoever wants to go next, give your piece on that.
I would just say, I feel that it's very hard to have a review without injecting some level of opinion. Even in some of the reviews I've done, selfish plug, as I just butcher what I'm trying to say, I try to be as absolutely informative as possible. I break down if it has a story, the game mechanics itself, the pros, the cons, and so on, while also showing gameplay. And of course, there's still going to be some level of opinion, because as the person who played it, I'm going to say, this is all of the way it is here, but this is how I feel about it. I feel you should either buy it, play it, or skip it. I don't like the number system, because it's really hard to quantify the quality of something based off of numbers. I think simplify it by saying buy it, rent it, or play it is really much easier, and really gets the point across that people really want to know. Should I buy this? Should I play this? Or should I skip it? And it really should be seen as just a basis of what the person wants to do. Actually, no, it shouldn't be considered as a basis. It should help them make the decision, but it should not be the only reason why they make that decision. And a lot of people do that for some reason.
A lot.
Yeah, it's a shame. You get games that for a certain fan base or a certain group of people, they would absolutely love it, but because some mainstream review media decided to slaughter it because maybe they stubbed their toe that morning and they were pissed off when they played it, and they give it a crap review, and then a lot of people skip it. One game just in particular recently, Deadpool. Now, the game was nothing amazing. It wasn't groundbreaking. Did it do anything that was different from other games? Yeah, what it did was it actually hit the nail on the head when it comes to the character of Deadpool. the crazy crackpot comedy, the zany, insane internet meme references and stuff. The game itself was absolutely hilarious. So despite the fact having pretty boring, not so complex gameplay until about the end of the game when you've unlocked all the abilities, the game was actually quite good for fans of Deadpool. Yet when you go on Metacritic and you actually read the reviews, you can tell that a lot of the people who reviewed the game don't even know who Deadpool is.
Right.
So how can you review a game completely out of reference and then say that your review is valid and then have that review posted on a website that's going to have thousands and thousands of people looking at to determine whether or not they think a game is good? And I think the reason this topic is becoming such a hotbed right now is because the world is experiencing a relatively bad economy. People have way less money to spend, and unlike like 3-4 years ago when everyone was kind of rolling in dough and I'm going to go to the store and buy a game every month, a lot of people say I can't afford to do that anymore. I have to pick and choose what games I'm going to buy, and what are they going to rely on? They have to rely on the people who are reviewing the games. And I think it is an absolute cop-out and completely unprofessional for these mainstream review sites like IGN, GameSpot, any of these that get posted on Metacritic, they get their review featured, and then, that's what people listen to say, well, that's just my opinion, and therefore it doesn't matter if you agree with it, it's just my opinion, so it's completely protected from criticism. Absolutely not, because a review is not just an opinion. Just listen to the word review. It means that you're reviewing something, you're recapping, you're bringing together information. The purpose of a review is to take factual information about a game, combine it with your own personal experiences with that game, and comparing it to other games that you've played to let me know, is this game better or worse than another game? That's how I know if I want to buy it or not. Is it better or worse than the other game that's the candidate for me to buy? And this is not what reviewers are doing in the video game medium. And I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's because video games have boomed in the past decade and only now it's being considered big business. But the people who are actually covering games are not professional in the way that they do it. They approach it like, well, I just played through the game. Oh, I wrote my review. It's good. I don't care. They don't realize that they have a responsibility, that their word is going to be taken as fact rather than opinion, because that's really what happens. And of course, we do have to say at the same time, shame on the gamer who takes any review that you see on the internet as Bible truth and fact about that game, because you have to understand that you have to take whatever they say with a grain of salt from their personal perspective as well. The girl who wrote the review for Duke Nukem Forever for PlayStation Magazine, who was 5 years old when Duke Nukem Forever was popular and obviously never played the game in its heyday and knew what that whole thing was about, for her to write a review about that game, number one, was irresponsible by her editor, which is why he should have been fired, which, by the way, he ended up going off to work for a website immediately after, which is kind of funny. But for her to review that game, you have to know who that reviewer is. Because if I didn't know that she was a 20-year-old girl, I might have read that and said, wow, this game's a piece of shit. But being that I had already played the game myself, I had reference from that era, and I read it. I said, this is the most just ridiculous, worst frame of reference review I think I've read in a long time, and I have to say something about it because I actually feel bad for the makers of the game who were getting panned at the time. People say, oh, this is the worst game ever. How could this game have been in development for 15 years? The game was not in development for 15 years. The game was constantly put on hold, scrapped, restarted, put on hold, scrapped, restarted, and what they ended up with was a game with modern graphics that played like a game from the 1990s. If that's what you're looking for because you're a fan of Duke Nukem, that game was amazing. But how many reviewers said that? Probably like 2 out of the 1,000 reviews that went on the internet, because we get these idiots who don't take their job seriously. And that's what really pisses me off, that people are making these judgments about buying games solely off of people who do not take their job seriously.
All right, real quick on that same note, though, using also Duke Nukem Forever, which I did actually enjoy that game, and Deadpool as a frame reference, I mean, you guys basically both pointed out that it is a matter of opinion to some respect, even from the people giving professional reviews. Because although, I mean, we can all agree that Duke Nukem Forever was kind of buggy, there were some, mechanical issues, but that's because of the fact that it was kind of stuck in gaming purgatory for a while. I mean, it could have used a little bit more polish, but it was, in fact, true to Duke Nukem games. And I mean, I think that's kind of where some of the review comes from. I mean, some people did like a factual review of it, and based on gameplay merits, it wasn't the best thing in the world. I wouldn't say it was terrible either. That's why it's really hard to find that middle ground, because my personal feeling on it is it really should be a middle ground. I mean, like I said, the opinion should be something that's factored in, but not the be all end all to it. But at the same time, it's got to be more than just looking at the gameplay mechanics, because there's going to be different people feeling different ways about it. Like Deadpool, I personally am not a big fan of Deadpool, so the Deadpool game didn't interest me that much. But I could still definitely play the game. But I guess what kind of was to that was my bias towards that situation, and the fact that there were people that said mechanically it wasn't the best. It was a little too easy, repetitive, even though most games nowadays that are hack and slash are going to be somewhat repetitive.
Well, I mean, to that degree, that there is going to be a bias, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with having, like, specifically, like, choosing your reviewer for the game to determine, like, what type of gamer they are in that sense. Specifically, like with Mitch Dyer, who openly admitted that he's not a fan of side-scrolling beat-em-ups, but we know the stupid fucking review that he did for Double Dragon Neon. If you're not a fan of that genre, why are you reviewing it? So to that degree, I completely agree that, opinion does matter, because, if you don't like fighting games, don't review a fighting game. That only fucking makes sense, but again, it gets blasted off as, well, it's my opinion. And even the IGN will come in there once, people start hating on, or, the backlash or whatever the hell happens in the comments. IGN senior editor will jump in there. Oh, it's just his opinion. He doesn't speak on behalf of IGN, even though when you go to Metacritic, it says IGN. It doesn't say Mitch Dyer. When the reviews on the game, it doesn't say IGN, written by Mitch Dyer, gave it a 9.5. No, it says IGN. So yes, he is speaking on behalf of IGN.
Right. And I think what it really all boils down to is the fact that if we could have perfectly 100% factual reviews, that would be the ideal state. The problem is, how can you have a 100% factual review and say this game had more content than every other game on the planet because you didn't play every other game on the planet? It's not humanly possible for you to play every single game that comes out in a year. So for someone to say my review is 100% factual, they'd never be able to do that because they don't have the correct frame of reference to basically say that. So yes, opinion always has to be part of a review. But again, to your point, what you just said, Mitch Dyer reviewing a side-scrolling beat-em-up. But he openly admits in the review as it starts that he's not a fan of side-scrolling beat-em-ups. What kind of fucking idiotic editor or his boss, whoever the editor-in-chief is, allowed him to review the game? Like, that is just the most unprofessional thing I've ever seen in my life. And though, for these reviews to be going on Metacritic and being judged as Bible truth by people who don't have a lot of money and want to decide which games they're going to buy with the little hard-earned money that they have a responsibility, a professional responsibility, to make sure that the reviews that they're putting out are, at least in some regards, factual and in the right frame of reference. And that is not what the mainstream gaming media is doing a good job of to this day.
Now, I got a question I want to throw out to both of you guys. Hunt, I am in no way trying to bash you or anything like that, but he made an interesting statement, because he's one of the people that I had a conversation about reviews in the past, and he's not the only person that said that. But what he told me was a perfect score doesn't mean a perfect game. Can you guys explain that to me?
Well, because for one thing, there's no such thing as perfection. So why there's even a such thing as a perfect score, which is why I said I absolutely hate the number system, is because you can't really say anything's perfection, because we don't know what's going to come out in the future, and not everybody's played what there is in the past, as kind of Phil brought up. There's just too many different factors to really be able to give a perfect score, and there's always going to be some kind of fault. There's always going to be some kind of glitch somebody runs into, some kind of inconsistency in the story, or just like a plot hole. There's always going to be something that's going to pop up, whether people want to admit it or not. There's really nothing that is perfect as a product.
Right, and a perfect score doesn't equal a perfect game. I can understand why he's saying that, because just because you gave a game a 10, you're basically saying that's the game that you feel is going to be the best one you're going to play. It doesn't necessarily mean that there was nothing wrong with it. So what if there were one or two game bugs? If it didn't hinder the immersive experience that you had with that game, then you may have a higher opinion of the game than someone who maybe just detests little nuisance game bugs and it ruined the experience for them. So I can understand you can have an imperfect game that you're given a really high score. But again, you have to understand that your review, if you work for one of these companies, is going to be believed to be Bible truth by the masses. And so you have a responsibility that when you are giving out a score, just because you love one particular genre of game and you played it, so let's say you're a huge Halo fanboy and Halo ODST comes out and you play it, wow, I really like Halo, this game's good. Now keep in mind, if you factually look at the game, it's shorter than most retail games. It was the shortest Halo game ever created, had less content than anything else. 10 out of 10, perfect game. It's like you can't do that if you work for the main companies, because there are people out there who are going to rush out and buy the game. And, oh, he said it was perfect. What the fuck? How's this game only 5 hours long? I just dropped $60.
Right. And I think that's what personally, I would just love it if they would get rid of the number system, because as Adam Sessler said, it's redundant. When you have a written review or if you're doing a video review, you're saying, I mean, you're giving the review there. Once you give it the score, you're basically reviewing it a second time. And in the context of like what he was saying, a perfect game doesn't mean a perfect score. I think even though that's not your intention, again, as both of you guys have already said, people take it that way though. And it is their responsibility to understand that, well, even though I don't necessarily like... IGN just did a game scoop where they was talking about the most overrated games. They, I think it was Damon said was Grand Theft Auto 4, and I absolutely agree with that. There were so many people that gave that game a perfect score, but when you compare it to previous, especially San Andreas, I don't think it was the best Grand Theft Auto nor a perfect game. But when people see that 10 out of 10, that perfect score, they're going to think it is a perfect game. I got to go buy it right now. That's how people take it, and not a lot of people are recognizing that's what's happening.
Okay.
So,
I mean, is there really anything else that you'd like to add to this, Bill?
Well, I really wish that people would start calling people out. Instead of letting them get away with the bullshit that they put out on the internet and the printed page on a monthly basis. When it comes to game releases, I really wish that someone would hold companies like IGN accountable for the people who they hire, people who go to E3 and actually report completely incorrect information on games, giving these games a completely negative connotation and association, when in fact the guy was just misreporting. I think we've already mentioned him once on this podcast. These people need to be taken to task, and these media outlets need to hold their employees responsible rather than treating it like some buddy system and protecting him. Why would you protect him? He blatantly fucked up. And it was the biggest news story of the day that this one reporter fucked up, and just because he worked for IGN, all of a sudden everyone thought this game sucked. And then come to find out he's wrong. Was any disciplinary action taken? Was anything? Nothing at all. No slap, nothing. He goes back to work. Perfectly fine, and now we have to keep reading his really poor quality journalism. And I think that we need to basically, when you read a review, you need to take it with a grain of salt. And if it's a review that you're going to trust, you need to learn a little bit about the person who's writing the review so that you know the perspective of the person who's writing it. Because if you read that Double Dragon Neon review and you didn't know that the reviewer doesn't like side-scrolling beat-em-ups, you would get a totally different impression about the game than what it actually would be if you were someone in a different position. So it is a little bit of responsibility also put on the shoulders of the common gamer to know that when you're reading reviews, you have to put it into perspective and not just take this number system and say, oh, well, on Metacritic, it averaged at this number, so that means it's good or that means it's bad. No, you need to delve further into that, because you're just going to get a misconception, and a lot of the times you're going to end up probably buying the overhyped crap.
Amazing Frog, 10 out of 10.
Well, I mean, that's not overhyped. I mean, that's just truth right there. That is one of the most groundbreaking games of the decade.
Amazing.
Wait.
Yes.
But isn't that just a time waster?
I just want to know, in the studio when they were developing Amazing Frog, they said, all right, we're going to do the sound effects. Ben, bend over and start farting. Oh, my God. What a game.
I would like to know where they got the slap noises from. If that was literally somebody just clapping, or if... Never mind. I don't want to talk about whipping out.
All right. Well, appreciate you coming on. Asking the questions. Some people in chat feel they weren't as hard as it should have been. So I'm sorry to disappoint, ladies and gentlemen, but we weren't trying to bash Phil. We're sorry if the questions weren't hard
All
enough,
right. Well,
and we're sorry if we're too easy for you,
can I
Phil.
make one final statement in regards to something that was a hot topic that we did not talk about that I absolutely 100% thought you guys were going to ask me before we adjourn here?
Sure, real quick.
Absolutely.
All right. The Area Lord made a video about his relationship with me over the years, how basically I became his friend. I inspired him to do stuff on YouTube, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to go into the details of the whole video because obviously we don't have time for that. But basically in the video, he was expressing his disappointment with the fact that we were trying to plan something and make it come together this year because we weren't going to be able to attend a convention together where he could come hang out, we could play some games, maybe do a couple playthroughs together, and it didn't come together. And it basically... It was last week, or was it last week? It was either last week or the week before. And he was really feeling bummed out about it because he's actually heading to college and he knows that he's going to have far less time to be doing stuff with YouTube and to be going out to conventions and stuff and hanging out with me and doing stuff like that. And he made a video about it on YouTube basically expressing this disappointment and saying, he did criticize me on a few things and he has the right to his opinion, of the opinions that he had and he said in that video. So I have absolutely no ill will towards Chris for that. I talked to him the next day about it on the phone at length, and we got it hashed out. And the bottom line is he removed the video because he realized that he shouldn't have ever made it because it was about personal business or personal relationship, not about, business on YouTube or anything like that. And that personal relationship stuff shouldn't be aired out in public. And like I said, he apologized to me for it. I have no ill will towards him whatsoever. But people are trying to take this opportunity to take this video and turn it into something that it literally was not. Nowhere in the video did he say that he hates me. Nowhere in the video did I say that I betrayed him. But he did call me out on some stuff. He said the very negativity that we just addressed in this podcast, he called me out on. So I'll openly admit there was some things there that rang true. But for people to try to take a video like that and to turn it into something that it's not for your own personal benefit, the people I'm talking about, the people out there who hate me, people out there who maybe I irked over the years. And now they say, oh, someone else doesn't like Phil? That's it. Welcome to the club, buddy. Let's get him in here and let's have him start hating on Phil right away. And let's start doing, oh, he took the video down. Good thing that I ripped it off his channel illegally. And now I'm going to re-upload his video to show that he doesn't like DSP. It's just absolutely ridiculous. It's the most immature thing you could possibly do. And if anything, it actually shows the maturity level of the people who are so dedicated on hating on me that they would do something like that. And basically against the wishes of a person who obviously was emotionally upset, took the video down because he felt that he was in the wrong for doing that video. And it's disrespectful to Chris is the bottom line. So Chris and I are fine. There's nothing personal going on there whatsoever anymore. We took care of it. I am saddened that we weren't able to get together this summer to do anything together. But that's the whole reason he made the video, and that's the full story behind it. There's no secret stuff. There's no, oh, Phil blackmailed Chris into taking the video down. These people are such ridiculous conspiracy theorists. The fact that they think that this is the most important thing to focus on, that Chris put up a video that was a little upset with me, is like get a life. Seriously, if that's what you think the main focus of life is, then you need to get your own. That's the bottom line. So there, I got it out there.
Well, and I mean, that was the main purpose of getting you on the show and having the Q&A session at the beginning was to, touch on questions from, not the haters or the trolls. I mean, obviously you have some, before the show even started, we was discussing about how somebody pretended to be my kid, for Christ's sake. So that there's people out there that just go way out of hand with how they feel about somebody personally. And I've been labeled as a DSP hater time and time again. I'm sure tomorrow I'll still be getting labeled as a DSP hater. I'm not.
No, you're gonna be a DSP lover.
Like, I don't know you, so how the hell could I hate you? You've never done anything personal to me. I have criticized, but I'm up for criticism too. I mean, that's one of the things that comes with taking that gamble and broadcasting yourself over the internet. People are going to disagree with what you say. And one thing I've learned after doing it for a while and putting up videos is you got to know when to speak up about things and when just to go, you know what, whatever, fuck you. Because trolls, when they say don't feed the trolls, that's literally, you got to take that literally. Whenever you respond to them, they're feeding, they're getting more hungry, they're getting stronger, and they're going to fucking keep coming at you. And that's one of the things that I was and I know Anthony and the people that submitted the questions was really wanting to get the point across that this isn't about hating on you. It's not about trolling you. It's about showing that there are legitimate fans out there that do have concerns, and they don't want to see you fail. I don't want to see you fail. I've stated this many times, and this is actually when the person started pretending to be my kids because I don't hate you. But they just want to see you be successful because, again, as I've stated before, how I met Anthony, how I met Lambert, Hazard. Even though the first thing I said to him was he's a dick-sucking fanboy, but I mean, I've gotten to know these guys because of DSP Gaming, and that's just the way it is. So I appreciate your content, and I greatly appreciate the fact that you've, again, taken that gamble, stepped out of the quote-unquote comfort zone here to address some of these questions and show that, I don't know, the softer side of DSP maybe. Because it's, as you stated before, you don't really get the chance to ever like have a one-on-one conversation with people. It's usually through a chat or like Twitter, which is just disgusting to even try to have a conversation on because it always gets misconstrued. I get misconstrued all the time.
See, you guys got haters. I'm not famous enough yet to have haters. Although I think I ate Midget, and I think he's here in chat. He hates me. He thinks I'm too soft.
One question I got, though. And this is...
Run out of time, man.
I know, I'm going to go. A couple of months ago, I did leave a comment, and it was when you brought up Toby Games, and you started the King of Hate vlogs. I time-stamped it, and I said, quote, 417 is beyond ironic. Pretty sure I saw this guy give Toby Turner shit for doing the same thing. You told me to go die, Phil! What's up with that?
Go die, Pro Troll.
Pro Troll. I gave you the credit. Pro Troll. See that? You're not the standard level.
That's right.
You made the upper echelon with that comment.
Professional.
Very nice.
Oh, here you go. There it is.
Do you really want me to go die?
I don't want you to go die. I just don't want you to leave those kind of comments on my videos anymore because basically that comment that you left is completely incorrect, and you know that it's unfair. Let's be honest here. Do you really think that me making a vlogs-only channel is the same as Toby Turner making a gaming channel when he's not a gamer, he's horrible at games, and obviously the only reason he did it was to make money?
Well, that's not the frame of reference when I left that, and that, again, that goes in just not be able to have a one-on-one conversation on. What I was saying on that is, in terms of, just jumping out and doing something else, personally, I didn't watch Toby Turner back in when it was just him doing the whatever the fuck stupid trailer videos that he does. So I can't confidently say, yes, I believe Toby did the games channel for money. I could see where a lot of people could say that, so I'm like, oh, okay. My only thing on that is that Toby Turner stepped out and did a gaming channel with nobody knowing what to expect from him in games. You were starting the vlogs channel with people already knowing that, well, I've seen his vlogs before, I know I'm going to watch it. So, to me, when I left that, I was basically saying I felt that you had the upper hand on that because people knew what they were stepping into. Obviously, he's got a bigger fan base, so he's going to have more rollover subs in that. But
you did it just because you knew you were going to be successful. Versus, I guess what he felt was that Toby took a chance.
Right.
Right, well, that's actually not the case. If I could have kept all my content on one channel, I would have. I liked having all that content on one channel because then people don't get confused and say I have to go here or there. But the bottom line was I was getting so many messages from people saying, listen, your DSP gaming channel is completely flooded. I'm not watching your vlogs anymore because you upload them in between game playthroughs. And, I got so many requests to change the style of what I was doing that I did. And also, if you want to be completely honest, if you remember correctly, my vlogs used to be on the King of Hate HD, my old vlogging channel, right, where people absolutely loved the content. They loved the fact that it was separated. So I actually had this channel before. It was pretty much just recreating the same channel that I had at one point for the sake of the request of the fans to keep it separated and organized. And that's why I did it. It wasn't, like I said, less money. In fact, I'll tell you right now, I make way less money on the videos on the King of Hate vlogs compared to DSP Gaming, even after my pay cut. So let's put it that in perspective. I did it purposely just to help the fans and not for any kind of benefit for myself. And it seemed to me that that comment that you left was basically saying, oh, you're a hypocrite because you criticized Toby Turner for trying to do something just to make money, and it seems like you're just making this channel to make money, and that wasn't the case. I was actually doing it to help the fans, and that's what really irked me, trying to do something directly to help the fans, and I get shit for it.
Yep.
Right. Like I said, it was taken out of context. I actually purposely tried not to leave it like elongated for fear of getting blocked, but I got blocked anyways. I see how it is, man. No, it was cool. But again, thanks for coming on the show. Can we go ahead and say future guest for Gamer Talk Live again, Darkside Phil?
Yeah, every once in a while, if there's something we want to talk about, a hot topic, want to have me on here, I'd be more than willing, as long as obviously it fits my schedule with the game releases that week. Like tonight, like I said, the only thing I was going to do was DuckTales, and I don't think that anyone is crying right now because I didn't rush to go play DuckTales tonight. So,
right.
Yeah, from time to time, I'd be willing to pop in and give my opinion on whatever the hot topic currently is.
We'll make sure to come up with tougher questions for you next time.
Yeah, I want tougher questions. I want to make sure that you make me break down and cry on the stream because this was way too easy for me, and I looked like far too good of a guy. I obviously need to be villainized more on the next one.
All right, well, thanks for
will
coming.
Contact the trolls and haters, and they'll come out. They'll give the help.
We're going to have to give a public apology after this one. We weren't hard enough.
I know it. It happens. But again,
Asian Slave, I'm sorry. Asian Slave did just call me out. He says, I am a sellout because I did make the Axe body wash detailer video for money, and I am a gamer, so I shouldn't have done that.